What's up, my little pretties? It's your mistress, the Queen of Lions here, and today we are doing a Shadows and Pretties episode, which is 79, which I'm gonna be doing another Disney movie called The Black Cauldron, which is a pretty much a really dark Disney movie that I've seen. I know this is actually one of the first Disney dark movies they have made, I guess in 1985 because it's a animated fantasy movie. So we are going to get started on this, which takes a set in the Middle Ages, which the early Middle Ages, which that's where it takes place. So with that being the case, and with that being said, I'm gonna sit here and explain about this movie called The Black Cauldron. Now, you were probably seeing this when you were a young kid and all that, so with that being said, there is a book called The Black Cauldron, which I will be talking about the book a little bit just to show you guys some differences that are in the book. So, anyways, this story was actually pretty well made in detail. Like, it was really dark and messed up. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty good movie, but it is dark at certain parts. Like, I'm gonna sit here and explain what this is about. Sorry about that. I'm just really tired. There is a video game based on this movie if you guys are curious. So, okay. So, I'm gonna explain what the plot is about. So, basically, in the land of Pydrain, Taran, who is a teenage boy who an assassinates pig keeper on a small farm of Sayer Dalbalin in the home of Dalban, and the enchanter dreams of becoming a famous warrior, although he learns that the evil Horned King is searching for a mystical relic known as the Black Cauldron, which can create an invincible army of undead warriors. So, the Black Cauldron born, Dalban fears the Horned King might try to use his pig Wenhen to his archetical powers. To locate the cauldron, Dalban directs Taran to take Hen to safety. Unfortunately, Taran's foolish daydreamings causes Wenhen to be captured by, well, the Horned King's dragon-like creatures. So Taran follows them to the Horned King's castle and meets a pestering dog named Gurgi, who wants to be his friend. And frustrated by Gurgi's antics and countenance, Taran leaves him and Taran sneaks into the castle with helps of Wenhen to escape, but unfortunately they get captured and thrown into the dungeon. Another captive named Princess Eloine frees him and she tries to escape, but in the catacombs underneath the castle, Taran and Eloine basically discovers an ancient, brutal chamber king, which Taran arms himself with the king's sword, which contains magic that allows him to become more effectively during the fight with the Horned King's minions, thus fulfilling his dream. Along with the third prisoner, the commonicial middle-aged bird, or Wilfeder Faham, escapes from the castle and are found by Gurgi, who basically upon learning that Taran escaped, the Horned King orders his goblin creeper to to follow him. So, following Hen Wen's trail, the four companions stumbled into an underground kingdom of fair folk, who have Wen Hen and under their possession. When the kindling king reveals the cauldron's location, Taran then decides to destroy it. Eleni and Gurgi and Fildeward agree to join him. So during the fight, Dole is assigned to lead them through the marshes of Marva, while the fair folk escort Wenhen back to Sierra Dalben. So they eventually learn that the cauldron is held by three witches, which are Crafty Leader, the Greedy, and even the bit of violent one. So, who falls in love with them at first, with Federer in first sight. Ordero then agrees to trade the cauldron for Tarvin's sword, which they reluctantly agrees, knowing that it was cost of being, a chance for heroism. But before being vanishing, the witches reveal the cauldron to be indestructible and its power can only be broken with someone willing to climb into it, which kills them. And of course, though, angry abandons the group, but although Taran feels a little foolish about trading his sword for nothing. So his companions show their behalf on him, and Elnor and Taran almost kiss when suddenly they're found by the Horned King's minions who followed them. Gurgi runs away before they could get to the cauldron and send the minions back to the castle, as the Horned King uses the cauldron to raise the dead, with his cauldron-born army begins to pour out into the world. However, Gurgi deciding not to abandon his friends, he sneaks into the castle and rescues them. So Taran decides to jump into the cauldron to save everyone, but Gurgi stops him and jumps in instead, killing the cauldron-born when the Horned King spots Taran and blames him, saying that Taran has interfered for the last time, throws the youth towards the cauldron, but instead killing the cauldron reborn. So the cauldron gets out of control and consumes the Horned King, and then the whole tunnel of fire, killing him and destroying the castle. So using up all of its powers forever, his companions escape, which the three witches come to recover their now inherited Black Cauldron, but however Taran has realized that Gurgi's true friendship and asks them to retrieve his friend in exchange for the cauldron, but choosing to give up on his magic sword permanently. Upon hearing Fiddle exchanging remarks and demonstrating their powers, the reluctant witches honor the request, returning Gurgi to them. At first, Gurgi appears to be dead, but is resurrected. But after they reunite and he pushes Taran and Elnor to a kiss, the four friends then journey back to Dallben, and where they had a vision of what by Wenhen, and Dallben finally praises Taran for his heroism. So that's basically the story of the Black Cauldron. I actually found this one to be a really dark movie. Like, I know Disney has done, a lot of dark movies in the past. This one was actually pretty amazing, to be honest. So, the development of this movie somehow, it started around maybe 1980, and they've been working on it for like a couple years. So, of course, they planned to release it in 1984, but for test screening and all that. But, however, during some, frequent, no drawings and, trying to get everything all set up and ready to go for when they want to preview the movie, but they delayed in its schedule, from Christmas of 1984 to July of 1985, so the film could be worked at. So the film was eventually cut by 12 minutes, existing scenes rewritten and reanimated for the community, and many of the cutscenes involve extended characters' interactions, but other terms and trims involve violent content, including the undead Cauldron Born, those were used by the Horned King's army for the final act of the film. So while most of the scenes were seamlessly removed from the film, the Cauldron Born sequence contains rather recognizable lapses, which, because the removal of the Black Cauldron Born mauling the henchmen, as well as having them being dissolved in the mist, creates a jump in the film's soundtrack. So they did release it, original release has, because of the film's last minutes of the reservations, they had, a score which was used in certain, soundtracks. So the soundtrack of it was released around that time as the movie came out. I definitely have to say the movie itself was actually pretty good for what it is. I really liked this movie. I'm sorry about that. I'm pretty tired. So with that being the case and that being said, of course we have this movie was, released on, VHS and DVD eventually, and it's actually a pretty good movie for what it is. It's based on the book by Lloyd Alexander, which is The Black Cauldron. So, though the Black Cauldron has, certain plots in the army, so of course they have different, I'm not going to talk about too much about the book, but I'm just going to definitely say was that the book is pretty much the same, except that there were some certain characters that were in this one, and there were certain characters that were not into it. But of course, the story itself was actually more disturbing. Like, I found this one to be more disturbing than the Disney one, because when Disney was making this film was based primarily on the first two Penguin novels and the elements from the others. And it was the last Disney film they produced before corporate recognition that created by Walt Disney Feature Animation, later Walt Disney Animation Studios, with a separate division with the company. So, of course, at first it was rated PG, then G. In the United States, the Disney's adaptation of Black Cauldron was considered a commercial failure before its gross receipts did not match the production cost. So, yeah, to be completely honest, I'm really surprised that, Disney adapted the first two books of The Black Cauldron, and I really have to say that it's a really good movie. Even though it was dark, it's still a really well-made movie. Like, I like the acting. The acting was pretty good for what it is. I love the acting of this movie. It was pretty good. Oh, pardon me. I don't know why. I'm just so tired today. I'm not sure why, but the movie itself was actually pretty good. I like the acting. I like the acting. I like the characters in there. The animation itself was just really good and well made. Like, when I was like a young kid, I might have saw this maybe on VHS back when I was younger. I'm not really sure, but I like it how it was based on, the medieval times ages. It's just really well made in detail, especially when this movie. I really enjoyed, the reality of this, well, the reality I'm feeling about this. Now, I know it is disturbing, especially with the Horned King and all that. Like, he was a pretty interesting villain, to be honest. So, like, if you're a kid in the 80s, you probably might have remembered seeing this, but if you're a kid in the 90s, you might have had this on VHS. So, not gonna lie. This movie, I have to say, was a pretty dark movie, but it was still really good for what it is. It actually provided pretty good detail for what this movie really is. Now, I definitely have to say, I like how this movie went out. It was really well made in detail. The heroes of this is just absolutely amazing. Like, I really like how the movie went out. It was just amazing, to be honest. Now, I do plan to maybe get this on DVD in the future so I can rewatch this one if I get the time. But I could definitely say what I really liked about the movie is it has like a really good feel when it comes to a certain setting. Like, I really do find this one to be enjoyable, well made in detail. It was just flat out amazing, to be completely honest. It actually was pretty amazing for this movie. So, yeah, just to be completely and utterly honest, you might have had this on VHS at one point, but if you did, and you were a kid, I think I did have it on VHS at one point, but yeah. Anyways, I'm just gonna sit here and say right now that this is just my own opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. Now, the reason why I'm not talking about the book too much is because it's kind of based on the same thing, except there were some changes in there. But I guess you could say, because it would take way too long for me to read it, but, well, to go for the whole plot. But if you guys want to, I guess you could look it up, because the actual story is up on the wiki itself, so you guys could take a look at it. So, alright. I guess with that being the case, and with that being said, what did you guys think about this movie? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? And also, what we have done personally to help make this, movie a lot better? Leave me know your thoughts down in the comments section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Shadows and Pretties. And if you're happy to be brand new here on this channel, like, comment, subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so then you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out.